Excellent. We got Bama, Cincinnati, Georgia, Michigan, Utah, Ohio State. First of all,
lots going on. First of all, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to both of you.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
Yes, happy all that
Happy
stuff.
holidays.
I won some money last night.
You did?
I bet Oklahoma big last night.
Yeah, that was a good bet.
So my theory was when Mario Cristobal left, a little bit of a vacuum, it felt like Oregon was reeling. When Lincoln Riley left, that could have been the case, but Stoops stepped in, kept them energized, and I think Bob Stoops deserves a lot of credit last night. So Oklahoma's going to be fine. I mean, they're going to find their life's a little tougher going to Tuscaloosa than Lubbock in a couple of years. They're going to find that out very quickly. But nonetheless, I thought it was college football, especially in these smaller towns, it's a heartbeat. It's the soul of the community.
What do you know about small towns?
Oh, listen, I grew up hard scrabble life.
Is that right?
Uphill both ways.
Is that right?
So, but I thought Stoopsy yesterday, that was great for college football.
I totally agree, and I think that his status has been cemented, certainly with that fan base, because they're going to revere him forever for stepping into this gap.
Yes.
And it was nasty. Listen, you know, if you were online in my position and you saw and heard, I guess, or read the vitriol coming from Sooner fans.
Oh, petty.
You know, when Lincoln Riley decided to go to USC, it was real. They were not happy.
Yeah.
This was someone that's never had to deal with this before. And then all of a sudden, it was like the person in high school that never got dumped, that got dumped for the first time was like, what? Me? And absolutely not. They were mad.
And everybody in the country can see it except Sooner fans.
That's right.
We all know you got dumped. Stop with it's how he left. That's how coaches leave now with a double signing period.
The calendar certainly doesn't help, and we've been over that.
Yeah.
But last night was a beautiful thing. It really was. I especially loved this guy's a legend in the Oklahoma community,
yes.
and in large part in college football. He's a College Football Hall of Famer, was inducted this year. To see the young players, you know, we often criticize young athletes for not knowing the history of their own game and just not understanding the scope or the history or the gravity of what's going on. I felt like the Sooner players understood what they were getting able to do, which was play for Bob Stoops. Some of them had been recruited by Bob, remember?
Yeah.
And so to see them really circle the wagons, to take a silly Sooner term, and come together and play like they did. I thought it was one of their best performances of the year, by the way. This is a team that did not play up to their expectations all year long. Yeah. And last night they were fantastic against Oregon. And congratulations to Bob Stoops. There's one compliment I can pay a coach that's the highest compliment I can possibly pay a coach, which is I would have loved to have played for Bob Stoops. What a great man.
You know my highest compliment I can pay a coach?
What's
that he bolts his team and comes to USC.
Is that right?
That's the highest compliment I can pay a coach.
I see.
You come to coach the Trojans.
I see.
All right, here we go. Alabama, Cincinnati. Okay, so Saban's 41-2 against non-Power 5 teams. They're favored to win. Is there a matchup that if Cincinnati, because they got some NFL people here, if Cincinnati could win a matchup, it'd be like, we got a football game. What would the matchup be?
Well, see, this Bama team is not quite as complete as former Bama teams.
Totally fair.
I think that's fair.
Totally fair.
And the games this year and how they've played out are evidence of that. In particular, the game against Auburn, right? In a game in which they probably should have lost the game.
Arkansas gave them fits.
Obviously, A&M ended up beating them. If you can defend on the edge, you've got a shot.
Yeah, the corners.
And it just so happens that as a tandem, Cincinnati's
got two pros.
Has two pros and two guys that as a tandem are some of the better tandem in all of college football. Ahmad Gardner. His name's Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
He is a All-American, will be a first-round draft pick. This is not just like, hey, he's good for Cincinnati. No. Bona fide first-round draft pick in next spring's NFL draft. On the other side, it's the Thorpe Award winner from this season, Kobe Bryant. This is one of those matchups where I'm like, okay, wait, hold on a second. Alabama specifically beat Georgia the way that they did because Bryce Young is great. They've got two wide receivers that can get after it in Jamison Williams and John Mechie. Now, all of a sudden, Cincinnati has at least two guys that maybe force Bryce Young to hold the ball for a beat.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't throw the ball quite on rhythm. So it's a matchup that you could actually say, listen, Cincinnati might have a better chance than we all think in this game because of those two players.
Cincinnati has an NFL first-round quarterback, and that always helps if you want to beat Saban.
It's going to be close to a first round. It's a down quarterback class, and I'm sure we'll get into that at some point, but Ritter is in that conversation.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter, he's played a lot of football.
Yeah.
Of the quarterbacks in the playoffs, he's certainly the most experienced. He wins a lot of games. He's won over 30 games in his career, and they can run the football. Listen, I'm not picking Cincinnati. I just think that, 13 right now? Is that where it's at?
Yeah.
I know it's kind of that's a lot. That's a lot. I think this is a better game than people are going to give it credit for. Remember, this is a team in Cincinnati that stood toe-to-toe against Georgia last year, I don't think they're going to be overwhelmed.
I watched them go into Notre Dame in the first half, completely knock them off the line of scrimmage.
Remember, the last time Notre Dame got beat in South Bend was a really good Georgia team multiple years ago.
Barely.
Clemson went in as the number one team and lost in South Bend. So, you don't just roll into South Bend, even though you like to take shots at South Bend.
No.
Yes, yeah, middle of the country, it's cold, academics are tough.
Well, that's not a criticism.
Well, sure it is. You've made it a criticism over the years.
People in Notre Dame love me.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Just like the people in Iowa, right? You Iowans out there?
Those people, Oklahoma and Iowa's not a fan of the show. I mean, they watch, but they don't want to. Okay, so Michigan, Georgia. I had this conversation the other day in the hotel lobby. I had somebody come up to me and want autographs and stuff. Anyway, so he came up and took multiple selfies with his family.
That's right.
And I said to him, he goes, "Who do you like in the big game?" And I said, "I think Michigan." I said, "I don't know. Georgia doesn't even know what they have at quarterback now." I said, "I think Michigan's got a shot to beat him. I think it's good for the sport. I don't trust." By the way, Georgia, as great as they are, they shrink a little. They shrink in big games. I think Michigan's got a shot. What's the key matchup in that game?
I think that the key matchup for Michigan is their ability to retain the ability to throw play-action pass. It's really easy to get scared away from trying to run the football against Georgia because their front seven defensively is the best in college football. They are great in the defensive front seven.
So don't give up on the run.
You can't give up on the run because that's where Michigan has to build its success, in particular early in the game, in order to get to the things that really make them explosive. I told you this in the Herd for the Holidays. Did you know that Michigan is actually the offense in the country that has the most 50-yard plays or more in the season?
That's the best stat in the country. They're the biggest play offense in America.
That no one talks about.
Because we look at their O-line, they got like 3 or 4 NFL guys. We think they're a power running team.
That's right.
But it sets up the deep ball.
And they are a power running team, and they can do that, and they have won games solely because they can get big and physical and pound teams like Ohio State in the second half. But it's also the wrinkles that they throw in. And Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator, has done a marvelous job. By the way, he won the Broyles Award as the top assistant coach in college football, and rightly so. And the reason is because he times his wrinkles as well as anybody out there. As a play caller, you're going to see power football, and then a reverse, and then a double pass like we saw against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. And those wrinkles are what allow for those explosive plays. But, Colin, they have to be built off of the back of running the ball and sustaining the run. And so their ability to do that early, that's where the matchup is. That offensive line. This is a good I can't wait for this matchup. That offensive line against the front seven for Georgia is going to be a titanic affair, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I don't want to complain because it's been one of the best college football seasons of all time, and people are yelling and
really good,
screaming at each other, and it's like college football's got to be solved. And I just want to say this. Nothing's perfect. The NFL's the best league at tweaking and pivoting. College football's amazing. We're going to get this playoff figured out, but just soak in these bowl games. Like, I can't wait to watch Ohio State, Utah.
Yeah.
Here's what I would worry about if I'm Ohio State. A, it's not the game they wanted to be playing in.
Nope.
And B, now I got some of their offensive guys peeling off to the NFL. So I think to myself, well, Utah's defense is already good. I think this game's going to be close.
Yes. Let's start with this. Ohio State, this mentality thing is something that I worry about because when you've got Chris Olave opting out and Garrett Wilson opting out, you understand it, right? You understand because
great receivers.
They're great receivers. They're going to the National Football League, and you understand it. Now, as a competitor, I would rather see guys exhaust their opportunities because opportunities don't come across every day. And I think when they get older, they're going to realize that the only game bigger than playing in the Rose Bowl is playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantees you're going to play in the Super Bowl. And when you threw away the opportunity to play in the Rose Bowl, I think when they get to my age and your age, they're going to be like, you know what? I wish I would have done
Listen,
that.
I've talked to USC guys. I've talked to so many people. I've talked to Michigan football players. You do not understand the Rose Bowl. You think it's a California thing. The Rose Bowl gets a 10 rating in New York City. It's the only place in the country that's 71. And the San Gabriel Mountains, everybody I know that's played in the Rose Bowl, Texas football guys. That's like, right. Man, that USC game.
Yes.
That's with you forever.
And so mentality is a concern for Ohio State because of that. Now, having said that, I think that this is still a really talented team. And what people will fail to realize is that their backup wide receivers would start everywhere else in the Big Ten, maybe everywhere else in the country. Remember now, they've got Emeka Egbuka, who was a number one wide receiver. They've got Julian Fleming, who was a number one wide receiver in his class. They've got Marvin Harrison Jr., who's an absolute freak. These are all backups to these other guys that are now stepping away. So I'll be interested to see this game. But watch out for Utah.
Do you know Utah's won, I think, 14 of their last 15 bowl games or something?
I absolutely believe it.
They always get in a good bowl. They come in as an underdog. And because they've always had great coach, they have NFL defensive linemen, so they can play with all the Alabamas and the Ohio States. They beat Alabama the last time they faced them in a bowl. So Utah's one of those schools. They never have the first-round quarterback. But if you ask coaches about them, Pete Carroll would have told you this. You're going up against NFL guys.
Yes.
And if you want to compete with the Ohio States and the Bamas in these big bowls, it's all your front. And they got like 3 or 4 NFL guys up front.
There's no doubt. And watch out for Devin Lloyd, okay? Yes. Devin Lloyd is going to be a bona fide NFL star on the defensive side as a linebacker. Got to meet him, by the way, out here. There was an award ceremony that I emceed for the Lot Impact Award, and Aiden Hutchinson ended up winning it, but Devin Lloyd was up for it and got to meet him. And, man, he was excited about this game. This was a month ago, and he's like, I cannot wait for the Rose Bowl.
I can't. Well, I think it's going to be very close. And I like all these bowl games. Some are goofy and named after weed eaters and stuff.
By the way, what's this like? Who wants to reduce the number of football games? What is I don't understand the take of, there's too many bowl games. What do you mean too many? Too much football? Too much football. Is that the take that we're going to have right now? There's too much football? I'm sorry. I'm 0% on board with that.
I love ice cream. What if you had it for breakfast this morning? You wouldn't like it.
Maybe I did, Colin. Maybe I did, because I also love ice cream. Okay. Maybe you sprinkle a little sea salt on top. Okay. I don't know. Maybe some chocolate chip shavings, right? Because that's delicious.
All right, I'm going to throw something at you. I'm going to ask for your guidance on this. So I am a man of refined taste.
I bet you are.
And a man of means. And I was thinking about this.
Oh, my God.
So for some reason, I don't know.
Half America just threw up in their mouth, but please continue.
Okay, so I just thinking about this. There are universities, like I always liked Michigan.
I'm sure you did. You're a man of great means.
Well, law school, a hospital. I always liked Michigan over Ohio State in terms of I just thought I liked the brand. Like I grew up with Rose Bowls in Michigan. I didn't grow up. I remember Washington and Michigan, so I always loved the song, the stadium. I had an agent from there, a lawyer from there. I know so many people from Michigan. Nothing against the Buckeyes. Same.
This is the segment of the everyman right here.
Okay.
I had an agent and a lawyer.
Okay. Well, I mean,
you're a man of means.
So then, I was always a Texas fan over Oklahoma, even though I know Oklahoma's the better program.
Well, yeah, you're snootier. I get it. Listen, I get it. Both of these, listen, Michigan's snootier than Ohio State. Texas is snootier
but I was thinking about this.
Than Oklahoma. I get it. You're on brand.
Okay.
Like, you don't have to apologize. Be authentic.
I want your opinion, though. I want to reach out to Oklahoma fans who hate me.
Right here?
Right here. I'm going to buy 10 acres of land outside of Norman, and I'm going to put a statue of Lincoln Riley right in the middle, no trespassing signs. And I'm going to go to Realtor.com today. I'm going to buy 10 acres right outside of Norman, and then I'm going to have a bouncy house with Lincoln Riley's face on it for the kids to come and play. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's an awful idea. I think it's patronizing, and I think you'll get run out of town.
If I lived there.
If you lived there,
okay.
That's right.
All right, so everybody's talking about a lousy quarterback draft. So the guy that's fascinating to me, because I've seen all of them except Malik Willis play. He's the kid from Liberty.
Yep.
I don't love any of them. But here's why Kenny Pickett's interesting.
Ooh, I'm glad you brought this name
Okay,
up.
So I always go back. He's a pretty easy thrower. The ball comes out, not a big arm, but an easy thrower. He's big, a lot of starts, loved in the locker room. Kind of a Daniel Jones. You get him around the corner, he can run a little bit.
He can. I think he's sneakier on the edge than you would expect.
I had an NFL GM say, we looked at him 2 years ago. We thought he was interesting. but he's never gotten better. And my takeaway is, well, you guys said that about Justin Herbert. So here's Klatt's top 5 prospects. I'm not going to be negative against kids. I don't want to talk about the other guys.
Just Pickett. Okay, let's talk about Pickett.
He is big enough, fast enough. He doesn't push the ball down the field. He's not a big, strong Herbert arm. Kenny Pickett looks like to me, so you got him number 2. Corral's too small. He's a little cocky for my taste. I said I wouldn't get into it. I'll move on. Pickett fascinates me. Tell me what I don't know.
Well, you hit a lot of it. Here's why. Let me just tell you why I am intrigued with Kenny Pickett. Is it's the experience. He's been around, and we're starting to see this trend of quarterbacks that have played a lot of football in their college career or have been kind of around the block, if you will. Like Kyler Murray didn't necessarily have a ton of snaps in college, but he had been around the block. He had a lot of experience, life experience, if you will. Baker Mayfield, a lot of experience. Joe Burrow, lots of experience. Mac Jones, lots of experience. Again, maybe not in pure reps, but experience through his time at Alabama. And now all of a sudden, that's the vein in which I see and view Kenny Pickett. You could throw Herbert, by the way, in that, or a guy like Josh Allen from Wyoming.
See, he moves pretty well.
He moves pretty well, and then you've heard me talk about this before. The last 10 quarterbacks to win Super Bowls, if you take a look at what they averaged in terms of their experience equation in college, what you'll see is, on average, those 10 quarterbacks, these are the Mahomes and Brady's and Peyton and Eli and all these different guys. You'll see guys that on average have attempted over 1,200 passes in their college career. Over 1,200. In fact, the 2 guys of the last 10 to win Super Bowls in the NFL, the 2 guys that have the fewest number of college passing attempts under their belt are Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Everybody else has a vast wealth of knowledge and experience. Well, guess how many reps Kenny Pickett has had? How many attempts he's had in college? 1,600. So if the average is 1,200 for guys that have won Super Bowl, I would rather have a guy that's had 1,600 reps. I know what I'm getting. I've got a guy that's experienced. He's an easier thrower of the ball than some, and he's also very accurate with the football, so I like him a lot.
Okay, so here's my criticism. I don't want to sound like a scout, even though I have a labyrinth of sourcing in the NFL. So when Pickett throws the ball, you'll get it. He's a little sloppy. I like urgency. I like the way the Brady hip turn, the Herbert hip turn. Kenny's kind of I don't love his footwork. It's kind of like he's an athlete. He gets away. Kenny's knows the game enough snaps. When he throws the ball, I don't get that intense urgency. Now, again, we all know all this, but in the pocket, he can be a little loose for me. Is that a phase? A little loose for me.
I don't think that that's a poor criticism. In fact, if he was tighter mechanically in the pocket, he would be my number 1 guy.
Okay, there you go.
So, and it's because the ball has to be out on time. Remember, the bottom line in quarterback play, and you're going to hear me talk about this with Colin throughout this draft process, on time, on target. Can you get there?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.